Welcome back. So, this is the series on recovery strategies. And in our first video, we talked about the role of financial stability, specifically the ability to live below our means to buy time for our future self, either to train more or work less or recover faster or a mixture of all three. Today, we're going to talk about emotional stability. And I'll hit you with the punchline first. Only you know how big of a head case you are. In other words, only I know what's going on inside my head. And if you read our Tired Athlete series, I did a case study on a good friend of mine, Claus Berling, who had a very rough ride with adrenal burnout and overtraining syndrome. And one of the parts of that series is an interview I did with Claus, and he was explaining what it was like to be inside his head when you're completely fried. And he described it as a war zone. And this was way beyond a situation where it's maladaptive stress and he's recovering slowly. This was his body collapsed to the point where mentally he was not able to undertake activities for daily living, constant panic attacks, just completely overloaded at very low stress levels. Now, if that's 10 out of 10, somewhere between, being totally zenned out at 0 out of 10 and where Claus found himself when he made himself very sick, each of us is sitting somewhere in there. And that's something to be aware of. Our emotional stability is going to have a big impact on our training adaptations, how fast we recover, and the amount of training stress that we can absorb and benefit from. So that's something to bear in mind, and that's something to watch in yourself. This noise, this barometer, how's the noise in the head doing? How, is the world really irritating you? These types of signs can be a sign that more recovery, but really less stress is needed. Now, when I talk about dynamic loading, I give you ideas for building minimum recovery into your week and your year. But it really goes beyond that, because there will be times where, for whatever reason, you're going to need more. You're going to need more recovery. And seeing that emotional stability is a great way to know that, hey, I got to dial the stress down. Now, another thing is with your ideas of kind of what you have in terms of things that might set you off, you need to be aware of those, notice those things. So a lot of us might have a tough time with social media. So there's the Leadville course record just got broken, and there's been a lot of really men's. And there's been a lot of neat interviews, podcasts that David, the men's winner and record breaker, did. And he talks about, how there's a point where other people's opinions can motivate you. But there's also a point where other people's opinions, people who, don't like us but don't really know us, just random folks on the internet projecting onto us, they're going to be slowing us down. They're going to be distracting us from having a calm mind and distracting the brain from just chilling out and recovering from some of the very demanding training that's required to perform at a high level. Likewise, if you're having ideas about selection year, you're having ideas about politics, or you're having ideas connected with random strangers on the internet, you're not able to have good ideas about your training program. But for most of us, it's good ideas about work, good ideas about our relationships. The noise will crowd out the ability to think about the important things. And it's going to take discipline to weed that out and to trim those sources of noise so that we can have better thinking and better recovery. So that's it for a quick one for emotional stability. There are a lot of books out there on this topic. The Practice of Groundedness by Brad Stolberg, favorite of mine. I also like The Artist's Way, the program of morning pages, journaling, to look for themes that repeat, but also just to get all that noise out of our heads down on a piece of paper and then just kind of send it away. A lot of times that's the benefit of publishing. I write a lot. Whatever it is, find what works for you and stick with it. And when performance matters, dial the sources of noise down. It's really tough. You know, you can have a habit of reaching for that phone. But if you can break it, it can be a source of additional performance. And if you're at the sharpest end, the margins are so tight that you really need to be looking for free speed. And turning the phone off and ditching the social media for a lot of people is a source of free speed. Hope this helps. Coming back next time with more ideas for you. Thanks.